Hello and welcome to my review of Spider-Man. Brought to you by the developers of Ratchet & Clank and Sunset Overdrive, Insomniac Games takes us to the city that never sleeps, in a gorgeous, fast-paced, web-slinging, and surprisingly well-grounded and well-rounded tale of our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. You'll play as Peter Parker, the same one that everyone has come to know and love. He's smart, funny, and still poor. Throughout your playthrough, you'll come to learn that Spider-Man and Peter Parker are on two ends of a seesaw. If one wins, it's usually at the expense of the other. This balancing act makes Peter Parker's Spider-Man one of the more relatable and developed superheroes. With the support of Mary Jane, Spider-Man tells a more down-to-earth story than some of his more otherworldly counterparts. The game's story takes place over a series of missions. The campaign was incredibly streamlined and also very linear, despite being in an open world environment. There are no level or gear restrictions, so the pace of the game is entirely dictated by you. You can play story missions back to back, or just as easily lose yourself trying to find every hidden photo op. Supported by a great cast of characters, the voice acting and on-screen performances were very good. Nothing award-winning in my opinion, but still very solid overall. The music was very cinematic and was satisfying to listen to, but didn't leave a lasting impression on me. I found it rather unremarkable outside of the main theme and opening song. While the Avengers and Spider-Man films are only a few hours long, this game is much longer, and after a while, the lack of variety becomes noticeable. The sound design was also pretty good. Combat sounds were decent, but I really enjoyed the sound of the wind and web shots as Spider-Man swings at high speeds. Originally released in 2018 exclusively for the PS4 and later ported to the PS5, this remastered version has now come to the PC after Sony's recent push to bring their games onto platforms not named Xbox. The original PS4 release already looked really good, and the remastered improvements range from small to significant depending on who you ask. Texture qualities have been improved with higher resolution support, and the robust settings menu allows you to tune the graphics for the smoothest experience possible. Lighting has been tweaked, making it more realistic, and real-time ray-traced reflections have been added to areas where everyone was previously a vampire. If you have the hardware to run it, the reflections in windows and shiny tiled floors add an extra level of realism that elevates this from the original release, but at a performance cost. Using their proprietary Insomniac engine, you'll soar through the majestic and towering Manhattan skyline in stunning fashion. Aside from Peter Parker's brand new remodeled face that would make any has-been B-list actor green with envy, Spider-Man for the most part improves on an already refined and polished experience. However, nothing is perfect. Some bugs do exist, such as not being able to pull out Spider-Man's camera and some graphical glitches here and there. Ray tracing also doesn't always work properly, leading to some weird looking reflections. But these were very rare and generally led to some really amusing moments. Crashing, however, does happen occasionally. I experienced a handful of crashes throughout my playthrough, but the game's aggressive autosave function meant I never lost more than a couple minutes of progress. There was nothing game breaking, and the game ran flawlessly 98% of the time. Although bugs come up from time to time, they were easily fixed by restarting the game. Taking place in the borough of Manhattan, its grid is divided into very familiar districts such as Chinatown, Central Park, and the Upper West Side. In a very Ubisoft-esque way, reveal each zone by descrambling towers to show collectibles and activities on the map. As you make your way from point to point, admire the attention to detail as you dive headfirst through the concrete jungle's Steelhenge at breakneck speeds. Traversal is the heart and soul of Spider-Man, and was a very addictive game of the floor's lava. The web-swinging mechanics were awesome, and the controls worked really well, so zipping between Manhattan's steel skyscrapers always felt smooth and refined, with little to no hitches. I played on the PC with an Xbox controller, but the game does support the PS5's DualSense controller. Agile, nimble, and flexible, Spider-Man's movements are as graceful as a rhythmic gymnast. The feeling of swinging and vaulting from tower to tower was sublime, and you can almost feel the G's exerted on Spider-Man's body as he nears the bottom of a swing, or feel the moment of excitement when he jumps at the apex, launching him even higher. It's so easy to lose track of time performing aerial maneuvers that you'll likely end up completing many traversal challenges inadvertently just because you love swinging through Manhattan. In fact, the web swinging is so satisfying that it mostly negates the desire to use the fast travel feature that is unlocked later in the game. While the game's sense of time is dictated by the main missions, New York City offers a whole new side to appreciate once the sun has set. If you're familiar with or enjoy the traversal in Batman Arkham Knight, then you'll likely enjoy this as well. While Batman has a glide mechanic, Spider-Man focuses on large arcing pendulum motions, but both employ similar modes of travel in the air. The Big Apple is the home of many criminals, and it's your part-time job to take them down. Stealth is a viable approach, but may not always be an option. You can use your scanner to locate enemies, and use distractions to incapacitate them from behind, above, or below. When thrown into combat, the fast-paced action and extremely fluid combo-based system will keep you very engaged. Again, it's very similar to the Arkham games. Combat is a mix of physical attacks, well-timed dodges, and the use of web-based gadgets in this case. Pummel low-level criminals into G-induced comas, and defeat hardier foes and supervillains using your arsenal of unique tools and high-tech gadgets. Complete quick-time events to trigger special moves, and dodge attacks using your spider sense. Successfully connecting attacks will build a focus bar that can be used to heal or execute finishing moves. Build up your focus faster by landing combo strings without taking damage. Spider-Man's frenetic and free-flowing combat style will be sure to keep you enthralled and excited till the very end. The game gives you 4 difficulties to choose from initially, with the 5th unlocked after you complete the game at least once, along with the New Game Plus. There are also a lot of accessibility options, such as an autocomplete QuickTime event feature, and the option to skip puzzles. It's slightly amusing there's an option to skip these, because I actually like the puzzles, but this is good for those who find it boring or tedious. There are a ton of collectibles and side activities scattered throughout Manhattan, some of which are only revealed upon reaching a certain part of the story. Backpacks contain mementos of Peter's earlier days when he was still in school. Intervening in low-level crimes will net you crime tokens. Taking photographs of famous landmarks will earn you landmark tokens, and partaking in cancer-inducing research tasks will get you guessed it, years of chemotherapy. No, of course it gives you research tokens. These tokens can be used to craft new suits and upgrade gadgets, making them more than just vanity collectibles. They're not strictly necessary, but you can unlock some really cool suits and powers. There are also 17 side quests throughout parts of the campaign. They're not all that interesting, but they give good experience. That brings us to the leveling system. Earn experience to gain levels and skill points, which can be used to learn new abilities. Using the collectibles previously mentioned, you can upgrade your Spidey gadgets and craft new suits. New suits unlock a unique power which can be used in conjunction with other suits you own. You can also modify your suit with 3 perks that enhance your style of play. Spider-Man's power creep is only matched by the villains themselves, and will have you discovering new moves and tools till the very end. Overall, Spider-Man delivers an extraordinary experience. With the exception of some minor bugs and a few crashes, the game runs extremely well. While its gameplay may not be new to veterans, newer players will find it well put together with very fun and engaging combat. Traversal feels blisteringly fast and is extremely addicting, which was great. Manhattan's open world allows free roam travel, but the missions are quite linear. Supported by a great cast of characters, the main missions tell an interesting story, incorporating some of Spider-Man's many villains. While some aspects could be improved upon, such as the music and side missions, it certainly didn't detract from the experience. The PC port has a launcher menu where you can change settings before booting into the game, which is great, and something I wish was more widely adopted. And I must also mention that the opening part of the game, where it shows all that nonsense of all the different companies that have worked on this title, is in fact skippable, which was once the norm, but has become extremely rare these days. So bonus points for both of those things. But more importantly, if you like Spider-Man and are interested in an open world with awesome traversal and a very streamlined campaign, then Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered is a game I highly recommend. Thank you so much for watching. How was your experience playing through Spider-Man? Let me know what you thought of this game and this video, and let me know what you'd like to see in the sequel. If you decide to play this, I hope you enjoy your time in New York City. Until next time, see ya.